Hi, I'm Connie Neal. This video is a sample lesson from my course, Write a Good Book. It looks at 2 essential questions every would-be author should ask.
And that's what we'll look at in this segment. If you've done your previous exercises, you should have quite a bit that you've brainstormed about your book. Here's an example of my brainstorming for a possible book idea with content similar to what's in this course. I use large sheets of newsprint, and you'll see that I jotted down 3 pages worth while I was thinking freely. And that's what you should do too. If you haven't yet, I want you to pause now and finish brainstorming everything you can think of that might go into your book. You may think that if what you're writing comes from your heart, it will surely make a good book. But that's only part of the picture. Heartfelt content is compelling, but it has to touch the heart of your reader. It has to get from your heart to their heart in order to make that connection. Yes, use content that you're passionate about. Just don't let your feelings take precedence over your reader's feelings, because book buyers do buy on emotion, but it's their emotion, not yours. Now, this is a path some authors skip, but I find it essential. This is the road to your reader's wants and needs, and it narrows down to 2 simple questions. So what? What difference will this make in your reader's life? Who cares? Who in the reading public has reason to be interested in your topic? And does the reader you're trying to reach care about this topic as much as you do? Your head may be so full of interesting ideas you think you'll burst, but that doesn't mean that everything lighting up your brain belongs in a book for the public or even for a select audience. Your book should create a meeting of the minds with your readers. What do you write? What do you have to say that your reader might be interested to know? What questions on the public mind could you answer? This way of thinking can give you an angle that can generate sales and give your book a very clear focus that will interest publishers. Example, I helped a therapist write a book on taming your teen's anger, but he was unable to find a publisher because they didn't see enough of a need for the book. Then, in December of 2012, a terrible mass shooting of children and adults took place at Sandy Hook Elementary School, and this stirred public debate. How could society prevent such violence? How could mental health professionals maybe give us some insight that would help us recognize and stop these potential shooters before they did something so terrible? These questions were begging for answers. And the book that this therapist had written dealt with these issues. He even used examples of the Columbine shooters extensively in the book he'd already written. So by grasping this question, the one the public was clamoring to have answered, what made them do it? How might we see it before it happens? The author could reframe this book in response to a question on the public mind and draw the attention of publishers without compromising the content. What you need to bear in mind, and the reason this is important to you, is because readers don't have to read your book. Even if it's a good book, they will only read it if they believe it relates to their lives. So if you can find ways to connect your book with the hearts and minds of readers, they will buy it, read it, and recommend it. For now, lay out all that you've brainstormed and look it over and ask yourself these questions. What might each possible piece of your book do for a reader? How might it make a difference in their life? Why should it matter to them? Then look over it again, asking the other question. Does my reader care about this? If my readers don't care about this, do I want to use this book to try to make them care? What does my reader care about that this content might relate to? And how might it relate? At this point, you don't have to have the answers. You just need to frame the questions and think through your book from your reader's perspective. Let me give you an example of how this could help you, even in framing your title. Here is a book that I happened to run across. This is actually available on Amazon.com. And I am repulsed by roaches. I would never, ever buy a book like this, but I looked at it and I read the description because I thought, ugh, it just grossed me out. And as I read the description, it told me that it was going to explain how to grow a thriving colony of roaches in my own home, which I didn't really want to do. But then it went on to explain the reason you might want to do this is because if you have pet reptiles, you can feed these roaches to your reptiles. Now, this is a picture of the kind of title I might recommend, because this title takes the same content, but it frames it in terms of what my reader is thinking and what they might need. A Reptile Lover's Guide, Grow Your Own Pet Food. As you're looking over all that you've brainstormed and asking these important questions, think of it in terms of helping you frame the book to sell better to people who are looking for something you have to offer. Now you need to give yourself some time to think about this and reflect on it and imagine. Let your imagination start to work on these questions without forcing any answers. As you lay your head on your pillow at night and awake in the morning, give yourself time to think over these two essential questions. And if you start getting answers, jot those down on a notepad. Keep a notepad with you at all times and next to your bed. If you don't start getting answers immediately, don't worry. This part of the process takes some time. As we close, let's recap quickly. First, you want to brainstorm your book. Aim heart to heart. Connect your expertise to your reader's interests. And the road to your reader's wants and needs narrows down to these two questions: so what and who cares? You need to aim for a meeting of the minds. You need to reframe your book from your reader's perspective. And lastly, give yourself time to imagine.
That concludes our sample lesson. If you might like to learn to write a good book and direct publish it, send your email address to connieneal58@gmail.com. That's ConnieNeal58@gmail.com, and I'll let you know when the next course begins. Thanks for your interest. Bye-bye.